everyone, my name is Ashkan and I'm a chef based in London. Today I'll be showing you how to make a lamb and aubergine pirashki. Now, pirashki originates from Russia and we've adopted it to our own taste in Iran, coming in either sweet or savory fillings. What I'll be showing you today is how to make the dough and then the filling. So if you'd like to follow the recipe, please check it out on Farhang's website. The first step of making the dough would be to actually make the wet element, and in here I've got buttermilk and water which we're going to add. This has been heated up to roughly 40 degrees Celsius and we're going to be whisking this so it's all incorporated well. To this we're going to add our sugar, and then we're also going to add our egg yolks. And then also, the most important part, the yeast. For the next step of making the dough, what we'll need to do is incorporate our flour into our wet mix. The wet mix has been sitting around for about 4 to 5 minutes, and this has allowed the sugar to melt and the yeast to activate. So what we're going to add is also lamb fat. If you don't like the use of lamb fat, you can substitute that for butter. We'll attach a dough hook and turn this on a medium to low speed, and then we're going to add our lamb fat to this. Whilst this combines, we're going to add our flour in small quantities so it doesn't clump in the mix. We can take out a stand mixer and work it slightly into a ball form on a lightly floured surface. So this is how the dough should look. It should hang, it should be able to stretch and be elastic. We take the dough hook off it, lightly flour our work surface. You don't need too much flour, just enough so the dough doesn't stick to this work surface. And in order to form it, what you're going to be doing is bringing it in one side, flipping it the other way, bringing the other side, bringing that side, and bringing the 4 sides in. And then you're going to turn it on itself, and then you're just going to bring it back with your bottom fingers. And what this does, it allows air to be trapped inside, enabling the yeast to grow and allow better gluten formation in your dough. Leave it into a clean bowl and leave it to proof for about 2 to 3 hours in an environment which is around 27 to 32 degrees Celsius. So whilst our dough is proving, we need to make the filling for the pirashki, and for that we'll need aubergines, lamb mince, onions, garlic and chili, lamb stock, verjus, cayenne pepper and turmeric as the spices, as well as limon amoni or dried lime powder, and obviously the seasoning. The process of this is simple. You just want to burn the skin off it and give it a smoky flavour throughout. We know that the aubergine is done when you get blisters on the skin, where the actual skin starts to flake off, starts to smoke, and is also starting to bubble away in certain areas. Let's transfer that into a sealed container and we leave it to steam. Whilst our aubergine is steaming in its own heat, we start browning the lamb mince. As I've opted to use lamb belly mince, which is fattier, I won't be using any oil. We take out the lamb mince and add our onions. We saute the onions until translucent, and after a few minutes we add our garlic. The reason we add garlic later on is because garlic burns a lot quicker than onions. And after heating the garlic up, we add our chili. We let this cook briefly and reintroduce our lamb mince. Once the lamb mince is heated through, we add our spices. I believe the spices I'm using are key. However, feel free to change this and experiment with the dish. At this point now, we're going to add a lamb stock as well. And the lamb stock is key as it helps us deglaze our pan. If you prefer to use another stock, such as chicken stock, feel free to do that, as it's not too important. We adjust for seasoning and we add our verjus. The verjus will bring an acidity to the dish which balances
the richness of the lamb. We simmer this for around 25 minutes.
So at this point, our mince is ready, the mixture for it. And what you want to see is a glaze over the mince, and it's quite pulpy. And next what we're going to be doing is pureeing our aubergine. Take the aubergines off, take the tips out, and then we're going to put this in a blender. The blended aubergine will look like this. We keep the skin on, so when aubergines are young, you can actually eat the skin. And we add this to the mixture. We're going to fold this in. And what we want to do is cool down the mixture inside the fridge before we add it into the piroshky mix. And this is how a mixture should look like. So you get some texture from the meat, but also a really nice puree consistency from the aubergine. So it's been around 2.5 hours now, and our dough has proved. You can tell that because it's doubled in size and it feels quite spongy to the hand. What we need to do next is knock out the air and portion out smaller doughs, around 60 grams a piece. We're going to take out our dough, and it's going to be very soft and bouncy. What we need to do, like before, is form a bigger bowl, so it knocks out the air, and then we'll shape it. And from this we can portion out our smaller doughs. Now the first one is always a tricky one because you're trying to figure out how much it is. And there we go, that's one 60 gram portion. And we'll do that to the rest. Once we have all our 15 portions, what we need to do next is boulé them in this form. So by placing your thumb and then bringing the dough back inside itself. And then we do that to all of them, and then we'll leave it on a tray to rest. So to make our piroshky, we'll need our filling, and this should be in this consistency, still quite hard, and obviously the dough. To start off with, we're going to flour our work surface a bit, and then we're going to press on our dough to flatten it. There are many ways to fold a piroshky, and I'll show you some. Obviously with more experience you can become better at it. Traditionally a piroshky would be made in this shape, and we'll roll it out. The filling in the middle, and you want to put a generous amount of the filling inside, and then we'll take either side of it and we'll pinch on the top, and we pinch from top to bottom on either side. You got to make sure the pinch is very tight, otherwise when the piroshky is being baked or fried, it will pop. It will burst out of the dough. And this is a classic piroshky. And then you can also place it down so it forms into a shape like this, which is what the Russians would serve it as. Or if you want to be doing it the Iranian way, which is more like an empanada, you pinch the sides a bit more and then you fold it on itself. Starting from one side, you pinch, you fold, pinch, fold, pinch, fold. And that's a classic fold on a piroshky. Obviously, with more experience, they become better. Now, a really simple way to roll out the piroshky is making it into a triangle. And then what we're going to be doing is adding our piroshky mix. In the middle. And then we're just going to fold this edge here like this, and then we'll bring this part here in like this. pinching the edges. That's another way of rolling a piroshky. My preferred way of making the piroshky is a bit more dim summy, and that includes rolling our dough in a way that the center is thicker than the outside, and then holding the sides, we just roll at the edges only. And what you're looking for is a dough with a thick core and a thin outside part. And the more generous you are, the better it is, but obviously the more difficult it is as well to roll it. Then we take our thumb and we hold the dough in place, the mixture inside the dough in place, sorry. And then with our thumb and our index finger on the opposing hand, we start pinching whilst moving in very closely. And you keep doing this until you get to the center. Once you get to the center, you pinch everything together and you close any possibility where the piroshky can split and all the filling can come out of it. Should look like this, and you place it down and you shape it, and we leave this to prove for around 35 minutes to 40 minutes. It's been around 35 minutes and now we're applying an egg wash to our piroshkis, which are going to go inside a preheated oven at 180 degrees. And we're going to look at 12 minutes to 15 minutes until they form a golden crust on top. This is our final product. It's come out of the oven. It's been sitting around for 5 minutes now. And let's cut into one to see how they look. Yeah, perfect. Really soft and tender. And smells amazing. Now we're going to come to the final stage and plate our piroshky. For that, I'll just grab a plate out. And to the plate, I'm going to add some whipped yogurt. And I'm just going to put down the side. And then we're going to grab our piroshky and we're going to put some sumac on top of it. And the sumac will contrast the fatty lamb by bringing some acidity. And then to that we're going to add some mint. This is just some plain garden mint. However, it brings a bit of freshness, which is much needed for the smoky aubergine. Not too much. And then we're going to place this onto our plate. And then we're going to sprinkle some dehydrated lamb on the side. And that is my take on a lamb and aubergine piroshky. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you'd like to, again, you can follow the recipe on Farhang's Foundation website. A massive thank you to Farhang Foundation for all the work they're doing for Iranian food, Iranian culture and tradition.